My name is Alex and I'm 20 years old, and this story happened very recently. I needed to get new clothing since I was gonna go on a vacation with my family next week on a cruise ship. My family was going with Hawaiian clothing and I needed to find some Hawaiian clothes. And the only place I could find was going to the mall at a new mom and pop shop they opened. Since it was a new store in the mall, I didn't know where it was since I don't go to the mall that often. When I asked a random worker from a store where to find it, he said you could find it using Apple Maps since it makes it easier, which I did and told him thanks for the help. After seeing that it was 5 minutes away, I started walking for a little bit. When I started to notice someone was walking behind me like around 20 feet. I didn't think too much of it after all, since people are walking all around the mall very often. When I started walking into the store, the man was still behind me, walking still 20 feet away. I went inside the store and looked for a worker for some help since let's just say I'm not the best when it comes to fashion. After changing with 30 different sets of clothing, I got the one that looks the best. After going and paying on the register, I went walking out of the store, completely forgetting about the guy from earlier. When I got hungry and decided to go to the food court for some food, when I got to the food court, I got myself a bento box from a new Japanese fast food restaurant that was there. When I got to the line in order for my order, I saw the guy again, this time behind a few people. I'm thinking, what is it? What is up with this guy? Keeps showing up. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. That's what I told myself. After getting my order, I sat down and started eating. When I noticed the guy sat 3 tables away from me, but the only suspicious thing is he had no food, which made me remember that he was in the same line as me, but he didn't order any food. While at the same time, he is just staring at me, which is a bit weird. So I finished eating my food and started to walk out the food court and started walking towards the parking lot. When I heard footsteps behind me, I saw the guy approaching me, so I started to speed walk, but the problem was parked my car on the other side of the parking lot, so it was far. When I heard someone running, I saw behind me that he was running towards me, so I started running. I didn't look back and just kept running towards my car. When I was arriving towards my car, I opened it by pressing my buttons on the keys, and I opened the door and locked it 10 seconds later. That guy was at my door. Then he tried opening the door, but he could not open it, so he started running away. This is both the most confusing and creepiest experience I ever had. I did go to the mall after, and I have not seen him since. Hello, my name is James. I am 25 years old, and for the past 5 years or so, I've worked as an overnight security guard at an outdoor mall. It used to be that the outdoor mall didn't require an overnight person, but vandalism started to become a problem. Since we are not in the best place in town, most of the time I will be walking around the parking lot all night listening to my earbuds. Now and then kicked out the average homeless guy who was loitering around the place, or had a couple of kids with paint pants thinking they were cool from time to time. Other than that, I say that the job was pretty relaxing. Maybe 3 years in, I experienced something that I was expected to do as per my job as a security guard, but personally I was not prepared. I noticed that the light to one of the shops was on while walking around the parking lot. This was surprising to me considering no one had stuck past me as of yet. I was not informed that anyone would do overtime tonight. Even on some occasions, I will see the light on and see a janitor working, but he took the night off. So, of course, I started walking and headed inside the store to catch any potential thieves. As I went to the door, I saw it was open. I didn't hear the sound of anyone rummaging through the inventory. When I was in the store walking around, I saw that none of the products were touched. Sadly, there was no security cameras in this place, which means I won't be able to see if someone broke in, which makes my job that much harder. After walking around, I just went towards the switch and turned off the lights. I headed back outside and started walking around, and see, an hour went by with no incident, but as I was circling around the entrance to the mall, I saw another light was on the inside the same shop. It was the same scene repeated. The light was on to the shop, and the door was open again. I repeated the same steps as I did before, and I found absolutely nothing. So I went to the light switch and turned off the lights. When I heard the footsteps behind me, I saw someone running. I did not I did the only thing I could do and chase them, which unfortunately they did manage to escape. When I checked the clock, it was around 3 in the morning, so it would be 3 more hours until someone would come and replace me for the day shift. After staying in the same place for a minute so I could catch my breath, I heard a hard crash of a window shattering. It was at the same store, but this time it was two guys with hoodies throwing rocks at the store, screaming to save the store because it was burning. So I called the so I called for the police for backup since it will only take them 5 minutes to show up. In the meantime, I used my taser, which is a device that can stun the person to the ground, which I did use on both of these guys so that they can stop throwing rocks at the shop. When the police officers came here, they took my statement. They took the two guys. After a few days, I was informed more about the situation. Apparently, the two guys were on some very heavy hallucinogens that every time the lights were on, they would see the fire and they would throw rocks because, from their perspective, it was water. Which, like I said in the beginning, I was not prepared mentally. Not because it was creepy, but something you would not expect. My name is Carlos, and I call my friend Jesse for the story. These are not our real names for privacy reasons. My friend and I went to this abandoned mall that is out of town. We went in at 11 at night on a Wednesday night since we didn't have school the next day since summer vacation was right around the corner. What we did was drive there, which did take about 30 minutes. We told our parents we were going to the movies as an excuse. While we were in the car, we started to talk about what could be in the abandoned building, which then started to rain. We then stopped in the abandoned parking lot and started walking towards the mall. While we started to look for an entrance at the mall, we noticed that the mall did not seem to be in the best condition, with it being broken in multiple places and having different graffitis. But eventually we found a door which has been jammed in by previous visitors, so we pushed the objects blocking the doorway and went through. It was completely pitch black in there. Obviously, we turned on our flashlights on our phones for a few seconds just to really take in how dark it was. We explored the lower levels, then went up to the second level by climbing up the escalator. As we were shining our flashlights into old closed off stores, we heard a bang-like sound coming from further down this upper level. I got scared and asked Jake if it could be security or cops. He said he doubted it, probably just more people like us exploring. But we did still try to move in the opposite direction from the sound, just in case, since it might be people we did not want to face. We were right by the food court in the mall when we heard another similar bang, just like sound like from before, this time louder and closer. Jake and I turned off our lights now just to be safe. We didn't know who that could be with our flashlights out. We did the best thing we could do to make a little distance between us and the sound without banging into walls or anything. We did manage to get out of there when we were walking in the center of the mall by now. We started talking and saying if we should just leave or stay since we did not do that much exploring. Jesse said that we should continue even if there is another people here, so we just kept on walking, making sure that we did not encounter anyone. For the next 40 minutes, we were walking and we were able to go in 3 different stores. We decided we had enough and started walking back to the entrance, which was on the other side of the mall. When we were halfway to the other place, we then started to hear noise, and let's say this time we were curious. We started to walk towards the noise, towards the place since we were leaving anyways. Jesse and I started to hear that there was a lot of rumbling and crashing. When we approached around the corner, we saw 3 men that appeared to be homeless, which was not unsettling until we saw that was beneath them there was a bloody person on the floor. With blood leaving the person's body, we decided to leave since it appeared that we were at the wrong place at the wrong time. We started walking slowly when we heard a word of "Hey, who goes?" in the back, which caused a cold shiver down our spine since we just saw that there was a murdered body on the floor. Jesse and I ran to the same place we came in from. We got outside. We continued running through the rain until we got to the car. We didn't stop to catch our breath just yet, though. Jesse and I looked back to see if they were chasing us when we noticed that the three men were not running. They appeared to be out of breath, so we went inside the car and left, not looking back. As of today, we have not told anyone what we saw.